Hey guys, what's going on? So today I just wanted to talk about off-road tires for Subarus. I just wanted to give everybody a quick starting point. I know there's a ton of stuff out there. There's a lot of options available. The stuff that I'm going to talk to you about today is not necessarily in order from best to worst. I don't think you could make a bad decision with any of the tires that I'm going to talk about today. So whatever you choose, it's going to be up to you, and you'll kind of have to decide what fits into your price point. But I'm going to give you just some real good options to where when you start shopping, you can feel confident that you've got, a good handful of different tire options that are made in sizes that will work on most Subarus, that aren't going to be too heavy, and that are going to be high quality and be able to kind of withstand some of the abuse that taking your Subaru off-road might cause. Now, before we jump into everything, I just want to encourage you to head over to the Lifted Imports website. I'll link this article in the description. If you head over there, that article will be updated periodically as new tires come out, as new options are available. Just as things change, that will constantly be updated. Unfortunately, once you make a video, they just kind of are what they are, and there's not much that you can go back and do to, put in updates or anything like that. So if you want to see the newest stuff, or if you're like me and you're very much a person that likes to see things laid out in written form, that's how I am. I like to see things written down and laid out. Head over to the website, check out this article, and you can get info there. You can see photos of all the tires. You can get links to all the tires and get everything right there. So go and do that, and then in the meantime, we'll jump in and take a look at some of the better tire options for you. One of the first things to note is that there's going to be three main types of tires that you're going to be looking at when you go on a tire website or when you go into the tire store. You'll have all seasons, which are probably what your Subaru came with from the factory. They're a very mild tire. They don't have aggressive tread. They don't have a beefy sidewall, and they're typically lightweight and have a relatively thin carcass. Those tires are great for everyday driving, for driving on the freeway, but they're not good if you're going to be going into situations where you need a little extra grip, or if you think there's going to be different kinds of debris or obstacles on the trails that may present a puncture problem. The next type of tire that you might see is going to be an all-terrain, and I'd say for 75 to 90% of people out there, an all-terrain tire, if you're going to be lifting your Subaru or if you're going to be taking it on different trails, an all-terrain is probably the perfect mix and the most advisable tire in my opinion. They have slightly more aggressive tread blocks. They're going to have a slightly thicker carcass, so they'll be a little bit more resistant to puncture. And because they've got a little bit of a thicker body to them, you can air the tire down, which can allow for more grip on rocks, in the mud, in the snow, and things like that. If you try to air down in a tire that's not made for that, that's not made for off-road use, you can pinch a sidewall, you can damage the tire, and we're not trying to do that. So for the majority of you, all-terrains are going to be where you'll probably end up. But for those of you that just either really need the most off-road performance or just like the look, I know that's a thing. Some people are just buying tires for the look, and that's okay. I'm not going to hate on anybody. I'm not going to call anybody a mall crawler, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with buying what you like. For those people, there are mud terrains, and a mud terrain is just a very aggressive off-road tire. You're going to have wire voids in between your tread blocks as you look at the tread pattern of the tire. That allows for more grip and allows the tire to evacuate mud and snow and other things to get packed into the treads. The downside of that is because they've got the wider voids, you can wear the tires down quicker if you use them for a lot of freeway driving. On pavement, they take more of a beating on pavement because there's just not as much tread there, and because of those wide voids, they're exposed more to the pavement as you're rolling. And they're loud. They're just really loud, and typically they're going to be heavy, which is totally fine if that's what you need them for. If you're taking your car off-road, 85 to 95% of the time, a mud terrain is probably not a bad choice for you at all. They are typically a little bit more rigid as well, which means you can air them way down. I run mud terrains on one of my cars. Actually, two of my cars I have mud terrains on, and I've aired them down all the way to 5 psi. So that's not very typical, but I have done that in the snow when it was pretty deep, and it allows for more grip. Okay, so those are the three main types. You're going to have all-terrains, you're going to have all-seasons, which you probably are already on but going to want to steer away from. Then you're going to have mud terrains, which are going to be less common. The majority of what we're going to talk about today is going to be all-terrains. And again, I just want to stress that I'm not out here listing anything from best to worst or anything like that. Like I said, these are all good options. There's nothing bad here. There just may be something that you like the look of better. There may be something that fits in your budget better. There may be something that is more readily available, and maybe you need a tire like right now. Certain things are going to be, certain tires are going to be better for different things. All right, so one of the first tires that you'll want to look at, it's just exploded in popularity within the last couple of years, is going to be the Falken Wild Peak AT3W. Now, I really like the AT3W because it's not super heavy. It has a great sidewall pattern that I think looks really good. The tread pattern is great. It's relatively aggressive and seems to hold up to some pretty standard abuse when you're on trails. I really appreciate that this tire comes in 215/75 R15. It comes in the 235/75 15. Those are two real common sizes for folks in cross treks that want to downsize to a 15-inch wheel and still be able to fit, a little more sidewall in their car. They also come in the 245/65 17 that a lot of Outback owners run. And just overall, I think it's a great, just absolutely wonderful tire. I think it's a great place to start because almost everybody carries them. You get them on Discount Tire Direct. You can get them on, Tire Rack. You can get them all over the place. Simple Tire carries them. Your local tire dealer is probably going to have access to them. They may not have them on hand. And if that's the case, they can get them pretty quick. Let me see. Current price on these at Discount Tire Direct, it's only $163 a piece for the 235/75 15, which honestly that's not a bad price at all for that tire and for something that's that solid. So that would be one of the first tires that I would look at. I think it's great. Like I said, I'm not listing things in order from best to worst, but something that you should look at because it should be available almost anywhere. The next tire that I would recommend looking at is the Toyo Open Country AT3. The AT3 has been out for a while now. It's 3 Peak Mountain Snowflake rated. It's got just a great design, great tread pattern. I ran the AT2s before they came out with the third version, and I bought mine probably at about 50% tread depth, and they still absolutely crushed in almost all terrains. So snow, I took them in mud, I took them on gravel, I even took them in sand, and they performed really well. The only puncture that I ever got in those was a nail that went up through right between two of the tread blocks. I pulled that out, patched it, and it was good to go. Now, I can only imagine that the AT3 is even better. I've got a lot of friends that run the AT3. I think the third version of it is fantastic. It's got a slightly more aggressive tread pattern. The sidewall isn't as aggressive, but it still looks really good. And if I were to need a new set of all-terrains on one of my cars right now, I probably would purchase the Open Country AT3s. I think they're an all-around fantastic tire. They're right on par with the Falcons. They're 162 for the 215 65/16, which is actually pretty impressive, because typically if you're talking, a tire with a bigger rim diameter, you're usually looking at more money. In a 235/75/15, it's only $164 a piece. Again, that's right there with the Falcons. I think it's like $1 difference. They do have a better warranty, so they have a 65,000 mile warranty, whereas the Falcons only have a 55,000 mile warranty. So there's an extra 10,000 miles there. And Toyo is just known in general to be just a solid tire manufacturer. They are a foreign company, so they're not here in the U.S., and neither is Falcon, but they have one of the better reputations of any of the companies that we import tires from. Another tire that you may want to check out, this is going to be a very, I would say mild all-terrain tire, is going to be the Cooper Discover AT3. This would be a tire that I would recommend to you if you are going to be doing a lot of pavement driving, in addition to maybe some light trail usage. It's not super aggressive. The treads are not very, I guess, mean. I don't know if that's the right word for it. But it's the Cooper Discover, what do they call it? It's the AT3 4S. I think it's fantastic, as far as something that's not going to, kill the budget, but still do a good job. Let me see what the current price is for a 235/75 real quick. Okay, so same thing, right around $163.99. Again, they come in a wide range of options. They are, I believe, made in the United States, which paying under $660 for a U.S. produced tire is great. And there's always, a good chance that if you check with like TireRack.com or you check Discount Tire Direct, a lot of those retailers will have rebates that you can use. Not just for Cooper, but for a lot of these other tires as well. They make it real easy. You just fill out the form, and they typically will send you either a check or a card. I've always gotten a card. You just spend it like regular money. It's pretty cool. The Coopers also have a 65,000 mile warranty. I wouldn't recommend this if you are the type of person that's going to be doing trails that are slippery and, require a lot of biting edges and some, a little bit more hardcore grip. But for somebody that's going to be driving in wet conditions on the road and still need to be able to drive in mild snow, this is a great tire, because it is, again, it's 3-peak mountain snowflake rated, just like the other two tires that I've already talked about. They're not going to, cause a ton of road noise because of the fact that they're a little bit more mellow, and they do come in a wide range of sizes. If none of those tires do it for you, you could also check out the Hankook Dynapro. I think the Dynapro is a great tire. It's usually, if you're on a budget and you are having a hard time, justifying spending, $700 or, whatever on, some of the other options that are out there. The Dynapro, I think it's the ATM RF10, is a really good tire. You can get them in a ton of sizes. Lots of places carry them. Let me look up and tell you the current pricing. Oof, man, that's crazy. Okay, even their list price is absolutely insane. They have great ratings. This is a great tire. There's absolutely nothing wrong with these. It's got a lot of good siping across the treads. It has a mellow sidewall, so some people may or may not care about that. If you're going to be doing stuff with a lot of sharp rocks around, you may want to steer towards something else. But right now on Amazon, the Dynapro is only $123 a quarter for a 235 75 15. I mean, what are you going to say about that? That's really can't beat that. My opinion, this would be your best budget all-terrain tire, 100%. If price is the only thing excluding you from upgrading your tire, this is, that's hands down where I would go. They're also a Korean company. I really like Korean brands. And these are also 3 Peak Mountain Snowflake rated, so you can take them in mild snow as well. If you live in a place where you have a lot of snow all the time and it's very slick on the roads, these are not going to replace a dedicated snow tire. If that's your situation, you do need to get a regular snow tire. Another tire that I would recommend that you look at is going to be the Yokohama Geolander. It's going to be the Geo 15. Just a great tire in my opinion. Probably the best, if money no object type of situation. If you want a good tire that is going to perform well, that is very mild, but still going to be able to handle a little bit of an off-road beating, this is a great tire. It's actually not as expensive as it used to be compared to the other options. I don't think they've raised their prices as much. Even in an LT, which I don't typically recommend because it's a little bit heavy, but the Geo 15 and the 235 75 15 LT version is only $159 at simpletire.com. That is fantastic. Again, if you need something that's a good commuting tire but don't want to give up your off-road performance, the Geo 15 from Yokohama I think is a great option. I ran them in a, what size was that? Like a 205 70 15, I want to say. I can't remember. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that was the size. Anyways, I ran them. I really liked them, and they blew my socks off in the snow. I did not expect them to do what they did, and handled great on the freeway. Not a lot of road noise. Yeah, it's noisier than an all-season, but great tire. There's one more all-terrain that you'll hear a lot of people talk about. Some people will say it's heavy, and the tire is actually not heavy for what it is. It's heavy because it's only available in light truck versions, or LT. You'll always see, like before the size, you'll see an LT. That's just a designation for light truck, which just means it's met certain standards to be heavier duty. Now for a Subaru, you don't need an LT tire. Our cars don't really weigh enough to make that a necessity. If you run those, they weigh a little bit more, and it's just going to be, it's going to drag your gas mileage down a little bit. It's going to just make the car handle a little bit more sluggishly. Acceleration is going to suffer a little bit, and because they're so much more rigid, you might have a little bit more road noise. But nevertheless, this tire, the BFG or BF Goodrich KO2, is a very popular tire. A lot of people love these. The sidewall is super aggressive. It's still an all-terrain, but I would say it's on the more aggressive side compared to everything else that's out there. If you are running trails very infrequently, this may be not like the right tire for you. It is going to be loud. It is going to be heavy. It's going to be about as heavy as a lot of mud terrains. But if you like them, there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. I got a lot of friends that run them, and again, I think it's a good tire. I'm a huge fan of BF Goodrich. Their stuff's also made in the United States, and you just can't really go wrong with their stuff. Let me see what they cost. The 235 75 available in the LT version, it's $208 a corner, whereas a lot of these other tires don't really break over 165. If that's the size that you select, it's gonna run you a substantial amount of money. Almost, you'd be looking at close to $200 more for a set of 4. You get what you pay for, but I think in most cases it's okay to run this tire. But you may just not be getting the full benefit of what they're made to do. So a set of 4 in that size is about $832. They weigh 36 pounds a piece, which it's not insane, but for what it is kind of heavy for our vehicles. A lot of these other tires are going to weigh anywhere from 31 to 33, 34 pounds. So, for example, like the Toyo Open Country, that tire is only 33 pounds, and it's, you got to think that's the outermost portion of your rotating mass. And that unsprung weight really does make a difference. So you're paying a lot more money to get a tire that is, it's kind of heavy. And, if that's what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. But just to let you know, you're not going to really gain a whole lot out of it unless you are truly beating the crap out of the tires routinely. Okay, so those are all all-terrain tires that we've talked about up to this point. Let's say you really do want something that's a little more hardcore. The next type of tire that you would maybe want to consider would be a mud terrain. The first and probably favorite mud terrain of mine that I'm going to tell you about is the Accelera MT-01. It's an import tire. It's a little bit, cheaper. It's not a well-known brand, but I've been running these tires for 2.5 years, maybe. Probably almost 3 years. Really love them. I can't express to you how well they do in snow, in mud. Smashed them into rocks, like sharp rocks. I've taken them through all sorts of stuff. Like I'm telling you, all types of stuff, just doing crazy things. In my own personal Subaru. And they just, they crush it. Absolutely, like one of my favorite tires. Let me see how much they cost. If you're looking at a 235, 75, 15, gosh, that is insane. You can get them right now. I can't even believe this. $111 right now on Simple Tire. It's July of 2023. I don't know what these prices are going to look like as time moves along, but that's crazy. I weighed mine, and I can't remember how much they weighed, and I can't find the weight right now. But I want to say they only weighed like 34 pounds. They're lighter weight than the BFG KO2s, and I'm not playing. I have beat the crap out of these tires. I've done 4x4 trails in them. I've done a lot of stuff. Like I've kept up with like lifted forerunners while running these tires, and they perform fantastically. I think they look really good. If you're a fan of the Yokohama Geolander MT, this tire has a very similar tread pattern. I think it's very aggressive looking without, being overdone. I really like it. So that would be a tire that I would suggest that you go look at as soon as you can. You may even be able to get them cheaper on Amazon right now. It looks like they're even cheaper on Amazon. It's like only $106, dude. That's crazy. I paid way more than that for mine, but I bought them during like the beginning of like COVID and all that stuff. So everything was a little bit harder to get your hands on. Okay, so I would check that out. Probably the best budget mud tire, hands down. If you don't like that tire, you can't get it where you're at. The BF Goodrich KM3, which is just the mud terrain version of like a KO2, essentially, has a very similar sidewall. Looks close to the same thing. However, the tread blocks on this tire are great. I actually am running these on a Jeep that I own, and I have literally folded the sidewall over on itself while trying to climb in this like weird channel where it was like a rock channel, and I was coming down, and literally to get down it, I had to wedge one of my tires up into the side, and it folded like I have it on camera, it folded the sidewall over. Didn't debead, didn't blow up, didn't didn't pop the sidewall or anything. I'm still driving on those like a year and a half later, or maybe a year. Yeah, it's only been a year, but Absolutely crushing it. It's a great tire. It evacuates mud and other debris out of the treads very well. I like it. I'm a big fan. Now, this tire is going to be very heavy. Even in a 215/75 R15, which is, I'd say, an inch and a half smaller than the 235s, they're 41 1/4 pounds. So these are beastly tires. They're very heavy, and they're $239 a piece. So you're going to be spending about a G, even for a small set of 215/75s. And that is that's like the low end of tires. Let me see what other sizes. Okay, even if you get them on Amazon, the 235/75 is $257 a piece. If you need 4 of those joints, it is going to add up substantially. For 4 of them, you are looking at, gosh, 200. Oh my gosh. For 4 of those, you're looking at $1,028. If you need a 5th full-size spare, you're looking at $1,285. Oh my goodness. Okay, so these are big boy tires. I don't recommend them for most people because if you're running them on the pavement a lot, you're just going to wear through them, and there's no point in paying extra money for something that's heavy that's going to just suck down all your gas mileage. It's going to absolutely crush your braking power, just a lot of things. Your acceleration is going to suck. And like I said, it's just not the best choice for most people. If you do a lot of hardcore trails, this is a great tire. It's a fantastic tire. If you're out in the middle of nowhere and you can't afford to have a tire blowout, this is your jam right here. I just wanted to remind you, though, if you want to buy used tires, you can. I always recommend purchasing through an authorized dealer, though. I do not buy tires unless I'm buying a set of used wheels and the tires come with them. I just don't buy used tires. You don't get to take advantage of the manufacturer's warranty, and you got to think, if you blow up one tire and it's a set of, KM3s, for example, you blow up one tire and now, let's say they're 3 years old and you've worn the tread down enough to where you can't just go replace one. You're going to need all 4, otherwise it's going to mess up your all-wheel drive system. If you bought those used, good luck. Now you got to go buy another full set of tires at full retail. If you purchase these through an authorized dealer, most of these places are going to work with you on getting you set up and making sure that you're ready to go. That in and of itself is going to pay dividends. When you think about, like, what would you save if you bought them used? Maybe $200. That's not worth it to me. I also recommend get them installed at a shop that's recommended by wherever you purchase them. I buy all my tires almost exclusively on Tire Rack, Discount Tire Direct, Simple Tire, and I bought them on Amazon. All 4 of those places, you can have your tire shipped to an authorized installer. Some of those places will even have the opportunity to let you use a mobile installer. And those mobile installers, they can show up with like a van and do the mount and balance at your home or office or wherever, which is pretty cool. If you are not sure, if you want to go up to a bigger size, I also make sure that I know exactly whether or not it's going to fit. If you need to, go out and take measurements, see how much room you got, check at full lock both ways. And if you're still not sure, check in some of the groups and see if anybody has run that same tire and see what their issues were. You can also check online. There's a lot of, builds out there that are documented. If you go to the liftedimports.com website, there's a bunch of information there. A lot of people who've already lifted and put bigger tires on their car that have explained, hey, this is the size I'm running, this is what I had to do to fit it. And that way you can actually get a real world idea of what's going to fit. Don't be afraid to spend a little bit extra money on tires. tires are the only thing that is keeping your vehicle in contact with the road. Um, you know, a lot of people go out there and spend money on all these cosmetic mods that don't really make a whole lot of difference as far as how the car is going to handle. They don't make any difference of the capability of the car. The tires, on the other hand, it's one of those modifications where I'm okay spending a lot of money. If you're on the fence about, okay, do I really want to spend this money or not, I just want to encourage you to just pull the trigger if you are in that in that camp and you just need a little friendly nudge. Like I said, it's one of those things. I've never been bummed out when I bought a new set of tires for a specific purpose. It's always made the car handle better. It's always made the car more capable. And if you're not sure what you should buy, go online, call TireRack.com. I've literally called Tire Rack. I've called Discount Tire Direct. I've called them and said, hey, can you answer this question? I'm curious about this tire or that tire. Can you help me out here? And they've always got a lot of really good information. So I would recommend doing that. Okay, so that was just a quick rundown of some good tire options that I think people may want to check out. Again, there's a lot of other options out there. There's so many different tires that you can choose from. There's so much technology these days that even some of the worst tires are still pretty darn good. So don't be afraid of making a bad choice. As long as you find yourself a tire that meets the criteria that you need, that is the right tire type and the right size, you really are not going to be in a bad spot. You just need to decide whether you want to stick with all seasons, or if you want to jump to an all-terrain, or if you want to go all out and do a mud terrain. That's kind of up to you to decide, but whatever you pick within any of those categories, you're probably going to be just fine. I hope that this video has kind of opened your eyes a little bit and gotten you started. When I first started wanting to get off-road tires, I really didn't even know the difference between all-season and all-terrain and mud terrain and the different tire types that were out there. I didn't know what the differences were. So I just, I felt a little bit lost. So I hope that this has kind of solved some of that for you and just given you a good starting point as you go out and you start looking for the right tire for your next upgrade. So if this has been helpful for you, just like the video, subscribe to the channel. That just lets me know that this stuff is helping people, and it just lets me know that, okay, I need to make more of this stuff for people to help everybody, get out there and make the best of their build. So thanks a lot. If you have other options that you think would be helpful for people, put those in the comments and let us know your experience. And we're always trying to learn new things and have fun. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.